Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. With me today is my good friend, Kurt, Uncivil Law, to help me unravel a trademark issue.
Yes. Trademark's only the sexiest law.
It can be depending on the trademark. You know what I'm saying, right? Like,
lean close to me and whisper the word.
Whisper the word what?
Lanham. As in Lanham.
Oh, Lanham. Lanham. Let me tell you about that Lanham Act. I thought you were going to have me lean in and whisper the sexiest trademark that exists, which I have no idea what that would be. I'd have to assume it's like Trump's big booty or something, right? Like that's Trump's trunk. Trump's trunk right there. .com. Everything with thick Trump memes. Just gave you $1 million business idea, guys. Go for it. Go for it. Okay, guys, we do with that, we have a couple main topics tonight. I reached out to Kurt when this trademark thing started blowing up on Twitter. Dick Masterson mentioned it on my show last night, and I was like, oh, good God. But obviously, you got to talk about it. It's in the community of both communities that I hang around in, and everybody's fighting, and all I want to do is shove an ice pick in my fucking brain from it.
Why are you always the center of drama? You say you don't like drama, but you're always at the center of drama. Are you sure you're not the problem?
No, I know I'm the problem, Kurt, but I hate that I am. It's not like I try. Like I've run from this stuff and I'm like, I don't like, because I love Eric. He's fucking awesome. I want $1 trillion to be paid into the Rippaverse. I want it to be bigger than all the other comic book things. I think it's freaking hilarious. I want him to succeed beyond his wildest dreams and everybody's expectations. I want that. I also think Dick is great. I think he's fantastic. He's a large part of why I'm on the internet and how I do my stuff. And I think there's some confusion going on and some accusations that aren't fully fleshed out there. But at the same time, we'll talk about that. The main thing, though, is I just want to go online, talk to my friends without worrying about someone going, hey, do you know your one friend did this? And I'm like, no, I don't want to. I just want to talk and like laugh and drink and smile. Kurt, why can't we smile?
Yeah, I don't know. And I've been partially fault at that because I said some things and then people came at you about the things I said and they want to start a beef and a fight. See, I know I'm part of the problem too. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm sorry for being the cause of everything. I am ultimately, as a narcissist, I take all acceptable responsibility and all unacceptable praise. Brian, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So anyway, we are going to talk about that. You brought up another topic that you would like to discuss, and I found immediately interesting.
I'm crushing it at the gym.
Yes. Okay. Yes, which is awesome.
Get it? Trying to get my swole on.
But also
did 500-pound leg press the other day, times 10 reps.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn.
Posted a video of it on my channel.
Now you're gonna have to wear booty shorts soon. I can't be the only one, Kurt. I can't be the only one wearing booty shorts.
Do they have tandem booty shorts so we can wear them together?
Yes. If they don't, we're gonna make it happen. We'll make it happen. Lady Raggeds doesn't know. So I've been on a quest to find shorter and shorter shorts because I find the length of short annoying. Like this cloth could be used for anything other than shorts. I have thighs for a reason. They were given to me. Like I didn't earn them. I have them. Like they were just there. And not everybody has thighs, right? Like some people don't have legs at all. But I have them, so I don't need shorts to cover them. Like there's no reason that they should be covered. And they could be used to like clothe African children or something. That cloth could go to better use. So I've been on a quest to find shorter shorts. And the other day I found swimsuits with a 3-inch inseam. And she has no idea. I'm like, hey, I want to go hang out at the beach. She's going to be like,
well,
sure.
That's 2 inches more than you need.
Exactly. That's the whole point. You can't have all these damn inches, Kurt. What am I? Ron Jeremy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no, so she has no idea. It's going to be great. It's going to ruin her entire day. But anyway, no, I was referring, of course, to Jordan Peterson, who is experiencing the
much maligned person who apparently said some very, very naughty words. And we'll get there, I assume. And the thing that just struck me down about it was how like incredibly tame it was. They were like the tamest statements I've ever read in my life. And I was like, you're getting your panties in a twist over this, really? I was insulted as like, this is your A game, this bullshit. And I actually said during my stream, I'm like, damn, I'm glad that Nick isn't a licensed attorney in Canada. Shit, dude. That bar lesson's going bye-bye. Damn.
I know. Well, people think it should go away here in the United States for the same type of stuff. Like, oh, he says offensive stuff.
We're drinking Knob Creek 9-year, by the way. It's one of my go-tos right now. So,
yeah.
I'm going to be doing that as a mixed drink with some Coca-Cola.
Okay, I'm going to go with, let's do Deer Hammer. Someone gave me this. I'm trying to remember. Deer Hammer whiskey. American single malt whiskey, port cask finished. This will be good. I think I've never tried it, so looking forward to that. But yeah, so we're going to talk Jordan Peterson, who is experiencing the glory of Canadian free speech. And I like,
you have charter rights that are totally important, and this decision doesn't interfere with his charter rights in any way because the court told us that.
Right,
they're very clear about that.
Yeah, the court said. I mean, this doesn't mess with his free speech. I mean, he's free to say it. I mean, he has to go to like re-education camp and pay, you know, what, 25 grand out of his own pocket to do it. But that's like
25. That's 25K, I think, just for the privilege of filing a lawsuit. He still would have to pay whatever the fee is for the classes themselves, which presumably are another 25K or whatever.
Which, I mean, of course, like that's just a small imposition. I mean, he still has the right to free speech. He just has to pay for it. So I love this, actually. I hate that it happened to Jordan Peterson. I don't love that it happens to individuals, right? Because I think free speech is important. I think speech is free. It needs to be preserved and protected like a baby kitten, right? But at the same time, I get so unreasonably angry when people tell me, oh, other countries have the same rights and protections that the United States do. I'm like, no,
dude, right about now, I'm saying, God, I'm happy to be an American, man. God, I'm happy to be American, because if they could, they would, Nick.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're a regular Lee Greenwood with that one.
Yeah. I'm going to file a bar complaint for that comment.
That's a compliment.
You have misgendered me.
Wait, what? Lee Greenwood's a guy.
Is he?
I mean, I haven't checked below the skirt, I guess.
Did you just assume his gender?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah. I'm going to file a complaint about that.
I should make that into a shirt. Freach is spee, but have a picture of me just like holding a glass of whiskey, just hammered, like, Freach is spee.
So just take a picture just basically anytime.
Yeah, I'll just clip it out of any stream.
Yeah, that works.
So we're gonna get to that. But of course, I mean, big news happened after I reached out to you, and that is that Trump is back on Twitter. And
I missed that memo, but people have been telling me.
And his mugshot has been released. He turned himself in.
I've also not seen the mugshot. I've kept my eyes virgin for you.
Thank you so much. Let me deflower them with all haste. Here we go. We'll just start with this. I know people are going to ask us about this. So I want to hit it a little bit earlier. It's not the main theme tonight, though. The main theme of the night is the trademark lawsuit and Jordan Peterson. Trump stuff happened after. We're going to address it, obviously. It's funny. It's great. But, you know, I've talked a lot about these indictments. I think they're all a political game. I think the constitutional basis for them is very questionable. It's not an open and shut case either way on the constitutionality, but I think there's a strong argument that these lawsuits are precluded by presidential immunity, at least 3 of them. I would argue 4 of them. And that is a question that the Supreme Court's going to have to answer. So I don't want to like belabor
Yeah.
the legal.
Well,
underpinnings
I'll
of
be
it.
very interested to see what they do if Trump asks to take his case from Georgia to the federal courts, because I think he has a very solid case to ask the federal courts to take over the case, because a lot of it relates to his time in office, and so he should be able to remove it, as we say in the
Right.
trade, to the federal court. So it'd be interesting to see if that gets filed. Mark Meadows has already tried that, and he has a pretty good claim to it too.
Yeah, and there's of course other really terrifying implications. And this, to me, this just goes with all of the 2020 stuff that has happened in the wake of that election fight in regards to the Republicans who contested the election in any way. The punishments have been swift-ish. In cases where they needed to be swift, they've been swift. They've been heavy-handed. They're very punitive, right? Like the idea is you do not get to question the regime. And that seems to be communicated. And the fact that they are criminally prosecuting lawyers who are providing client requested data and analysis and answering legal questions and saying that that is part of a criminal conspiracy goes
that's really yeah, it's like it reminds me of that like very inside baseball legal joke of let's just charge the criminal defense lawyer with accessory after the fact, because obviously they're helping the defendant, right? So
yeah, and it's terrifying to think that you have a client who has let's take it out of the realm of election interference. Let's put it into a more mundane sort of field where you might encounter this. No, white collar crime, right? Like,
okay, fine.
So we go with like tax evasion, tax evasion or tax fraud.
Okay.
Right. So you have someone asking their lawyer, like, hey, I want to minimize the amount of taxes I pay for. Are there these types of deductions? And if you do any tax practice or know people who do tax practice and ask them about it, one of the problems with tax practice is often they don't know the answer. Like they can make a best guess at it. Like we're seeing this in the tax industry right now. We can craft a strategy around it, but ultimately the IRS might reject it. Courts might rule against it, and we'll go. And you can't just call the IRS up and ask, can we do this? Because they don't know the answer.
Might not know the answer.
Right. And so the insane proposition that you ask for an effective tax strategy from an attorney to reduce your tax burden, and the court says, oh, by the way, to the attorney, you're now an accessory or part of a criminal conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government of taxes. You're like, wait, I just wanted to reduce the bill to the maximum legal amount. And it's similar in this case to say, if we accept Trump's position that he genuinely believes the election had issues that he was researching and wanted to contest to his maximum ability under the law, it looks like he pursued that. It doesn't look like something else happened. Now, if there's more evidence that suggests otherwise, they keep saying there's like smoking gun evidence. And every time I read an article, it's like, well, there was a strategy session that says we need lawyers in these swing states to be prepared to contest the election. Well, there's like no attempt.
There's no attempt to like to treat the timeline differently, because the knowledge at different times obviously changes. Like the day after the election, which is November 4th, right, in that year, November 4th, the fog of war idea about like what happened in the election is a lot different than on January 19th, because you just don't know. You don't know what's possible and what's not possible. And all the attorneys are like running like crazy, filing lawsuits partially in the dark because they have to, because of how tight the time frames are. They can't even do the due diligence they normally would do. Like normally you might spend 3 months, you might spend 6 months, depending on your availability or statute of limitations, but you might spend a lot of time on due diligence. You can't do it. So you have to file these lawsuits in the dark because the time, and now you're being penalized for it. And it's all being treated the same. It's like they charged Trump in the Georgia indictment. They're talking about things that happened the day after the election.
Yeah.
Like it's the exact same as things that happened the day before inauguration. Like there's no difference in the factual understanding or the knowledge picture. This is ridiculous.
And the other part that makes it crazy is like one of the things was Roger Stone has a video, and this is what I was referring to, strategizing about putting lawyers in swing states. And they're like, see, at this point, they couldn't know the election was stolen because the votes weren't even in yet. It's like, well, they also couldn't know the election wasn't, like they couldn't know anything. This is a strategy session.
Putting lawyers in swing states. I mean, that's just every campaign's ever done that, you know?
Right.
Where of course, where you're going to put your lawyers, where they're going to be needed.
It's literally what Mark Elias's entire job was at the end of 2020.
Right.
But okay, here's the mugshot. I've got it. We'll wrap up the Trump topic before
ready.
too long.
Share with me.
Here it is.
Really? That's his mugshot?
That's the mugshot. That's the official one right there. And it is being merchandised. Let's see.
A little grainy.
Oh.
No, the focus needs work. The lighting also needs work.
Yeah, we can criticize the art and make it fair use here.
Yeah, I don't really like the work, the composition. Rule of threes is not really being done. I think the lighting, shadows are not very good.
Here we go.
The effort.
Let's see. Trump mugshot shirts are already for sale on Etsy while memes overrun X. So yeah, they're already, you can already buy them. And of course, what they're, I'm sure, doing is, since this is from Yahoo News, they're probably talking about negative sales of the mugshot. But this really is a huge campaign fundraising opportunity for the Trump campaign. Take this mugshot, modify it, make it hilarious, political prisoner, political persecution, corruption coming down on Trump or whatever, like make prison great again. All of these things are possibilities. Like they could just start dumping this out and really ramping up the Trump hype machine through it. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot of.
Yeah. I'll buy a shirt.
If it's funny enough, I will too.
Sure.
But, here we go. So here's one that has been put up on Locals. Well, here's a modification of it. Trump revenge shirt or whatever. So that's good. So anyway, this is the thing.
I don't like the art composition on that either. With the red, with the light. I don't like that composition either.
Well, do you like anything, Kurt?
I like you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I wish you liked me and spent more time with me.
I wish I spent more time with everybody these days. I'm just fucking swamped. But speaking of that, though, we will get to spend some time together in Nashville, which would be fun. Lots of fun.
Excellent.
So now it's going to be great.
When is that? I can't quite remember.
September 16th in
September
Nashville.
16th. And where will it be in Nashville?
At 3rd and Lindsley.
3rd and Lindsley on September 16th in Nashville. Wow. And if I were interested in attending this event, how might I find further information or get tickets?
Funny you asked that softball question, Kurt. Here it is. You just go to this Eventbrite page, which I think is linked in the description. And it's on YouTube. I got to add it to the Rumble one, which I'll do in a second. But yeah, you go to this, you go to here and you buy your tickets. It says $50 to $100, but there's the $100 tickets were special limited release for locals. The $50 tickets are all general admission. That's what's available. There's some VIP package add-ons that are coming that you'll be able to buy at any time. That will be a
Do I get a VIP add-on?
You're part of the experience. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So all of the creators who come will be invited to hang out with the VIP pass holders for about an hour before the show starts. We'll have some drinks, maybe some giveaway stuff, and get to chat with some people kind of in that more cozy thing. Then we'll start the live show, and then afterwards we'll probably go out and drink more because, degeneracy.
Excellent.
Abounds. So make sure you guys get your tickets. There will be other people there like Dick Masterson, who half of the audience hates right now, which is great. Camelot will be there. Cecil will be there. As far as I know, Kurt will be there, and I will update more. I believe Andrew Bronco will be there as well. So it should be a really fun time. And again, if more people are able to come, then I will be sharing more of those invitees. But come say hi to us, hang out, have some drinks, have some laughs, tell Dick he's gay or whatever, and that'll be funny. But, as long as no one hits anyone, I'm fine. That'll be good. But so yeah, do that. That's September 16th. Okay. All right. Should we dump into this trademark thing?
Sure.
Let's do this. Let's do a general background, because I don't know how much you know about this like drama thing that's going on. I want to address a couple things out the gate because I know I'm going to get heat over this. I already hate the internet today because of it. But so let me do a quick background on the social aspect of it, which will bring us right into the trademark case, which came through yesterday. And then we can do the trademark stuff. And this is an area of law you know very well, much better than me. So I'm going to, rely on your expertise and ask questions based on what I know, and we'll figure it out.
That's a mistake.
So here's the background. Eric July is young Rippa. He has created the Rippaverse, and he is made 2 comic books in that Rippaverse. ISOM number 1, ISOM number 2. ISOM number 1 launched last year, made something like $3 million of crowdfunding. Phenomenal success. Awesome thing. I love Eric July. He's a libertarian. When I talk to him, we have good conversations. I don't get to talk to him as much as I'd like, but I want to interview him again sometime soon. And I hate that this drama is surrounding people that I know and Eric, because like it always puts tension on relationships. And I'm like, I don't care what other people like do or say. I want Eric to make unlimited money.
You gotta pick a side.
That's what I'm told sometimes. But I want Eric to make unlimited money. I wish
it's
nothing
almost
but
like
success.
you made a video pointing out that like basically all online groups eventually devolve and will wind up eating their own. And you didn't want to be part of it because of these kind of reasons.
Every time, Kurt. Every time.
Every time.
So what happened though, where this drama kind of started, of course, was on my show, because why wouldn't it be? Dick Masterson and Nina Infinity were both guests on a panel that I had.
Dick Masterson sucks.
Yes.
Just figured I'd pick a side.
No, it's good. That's probably the right side to pick.
Okay. All right.
Like you got to just do that. So Dick said something along the lines of, and I'm going to paraphrase here, and I'm probably going to misquote people, but it's just because I don't really remember the exacts. Dick said something along the lines of, I bet the story of ISOM sucks because no one is talking about the story. They're all talking about the movement and stuff like that. And Nina, again, paraphrasing, said something of, how can you know? Have you even read it? And he says, well, no, I haven't, but have you? And she had also not read the comic. And so then people challenged Dick to read the comic and do an actual review of it. So he did. He read the comic. He gave a negative review, criticized the story, said it was not good writing, stuff like that. Gave some notes on it. In my opinion, that should kind of be the end of it. But
you're not allowed to say that art is not good. If you do, you'll be challenged for the hate speech.
Right. And what happens, of course, with online communities is whether or not the creators say anything, the audience will. The audience will react and typically defend the creator, right? So people went to bat for Eric immediately, said, hey, there's unfair criticism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And things just kept escalating. Dick is a consummate internet troll. If you keep feeding him, he will occupy the bridge forever, right? Like Ginsburg did. They stopped giving her baby foreskins and she eventually died. But it took a long time, Kurt. It really did. So this has been brewing back and forth since then. Now, there's an intervening thing that happened in where, which is part of Rippa's video today, kind of explaining the drama and how this has escalated into a lawsuit. But there was this moment where on the Biggest Problem show with Dick and Vito, Vito said, we contacted this charity that ISOM comics were being donated to and asked them about the donations.
Wow.
Right?
I love that kind of shit. Do you know where this donation money is coming from? Do you stand behind it? If I'm a charity, I'm like, I like donation money. It helps me with the cause. Well, I've actually seen charities reject money before because of this bullshit.
Of course.
Oh, man, so tired.
Now, my understanding is that Dick and Vito are not actually the people who contacted the charity. This audience member of the show seems to be the one who did.
No, it's always the audience members. It's always some third party who wants to stir shit. It's never the creators. It's usually not.
Usually
some third person who's
Now I know Dick fairly well, and it doesn't seem like something he would do. And I asked him, I was like, did you have anything to do with the fucking lawsuit, like with instigating it or contacting this organization that's suing? He says no. And for now, I take him at his word. If evidence comes up other than that, I have to maybe modify my opinion, but I'm not going to do it without evidence, of course, right? You give your friends the benefit of the doubt. So Vito, I don't know that well. And I've seen Vito do some bullshit. So I'm not letting Vito off the hook in the same way. I like, he doesn't have that credibility built up with me. Actually, he has negative credibility. He used the term we on the Biggest Problem. My understanding is that it's not actually we. An audience member sent the emails and it looks like they sent the email chain into the Biggest Problem and then Vito brought it up. But I don't know that that's true. I'm just saying that's what I have kind of gathered as to how this has happened so far. Now that was the charity thing. Following up, some accounts got flagged by Rippa or his company. I don't know who did the actual flagging. Doesn't really matter. People have arguments over whether or not the flaggings were valid or not. I don't care if they're valid or not. It doesn't matter to me. An account was flagged allegedly called an obtuse gnome, which seems to be the guy who sent the email to the charity. His name appears to be Roy. And he subsequently is a guy who emailed this Christian ministry that has initiated the trademark lawsuit. Now, to my understanding, no one who works for The Biggest Problem or for The Dick Show is named Roy, and I don't know of anyone associated with it. I don't know everything or everyone before anybody jumps down my fucking throat. I'm just saying, as far as I know, and I know a fair bit about their stuff, but not everything. I don't know this person at all. I don't know that I've ever met them or seen them. And I've been to lots of live functions with Dick Masterson throughout the past 5 years. So with that, I don't know that they caused this to happen. There's certainly a possibility that one of them did. And there's also the possibility that a person instigated this, citing themselves as a journalist for The Dick Show and The Biggest Problem for the purposes of stirring up internet drama. That shit does happen. So Eric is taking the position, and I don't fault him for taking this position. I think it's actually, at this point of the lawsuit and the stuff around it, the right position to take. Eric is taking the position that Vito's usage of the word "we" implicates at least Vito and the shows and Dick, I guess, in this thing. I think that is a reasonable position to take, even though I think it may end up being factually incorrect. But he wouldn't have any reason to know that and no reason to trust them. So I don't hold any problem with him taking that position. But I, of course, have a different perspective because of my existing relationship. And I'm not going to I can't cast that aside and say, I don't know Dick to do this to anybody, but now he's going to. It doesn't make sense to me. So that being said, that is where all of this has propagated. There's a lot of shit talking going on for the past month between all the parties. Now it's a lawsuit. Now it's serious. You know, this is something I don't want to see anybody have to go through. Because trademark suits they're not always expensive, but they're not always cheap either. Right? Anything can get really expensive really fast, and any waste of money on a lawsuit that probably shouldn't happen is a complete waste, in my opinion. So I fucking hate this.
I'm curious to the degree to which they try to resolve this outside of litigation.
My understanding, and this is just based on kind of my understanding of the timeline, since this thing was filed yesterday, it was filed on the 21st. I don't think anything's happened outside to resolve it, because this seems like it'd be easy to resolve, right? To me, but that depends on the parties always.
Yeah, but, it just, why not take a week to try to see if you can solve it before filing something? I guess to let them know you're serious, maybe it gives you more leverage, I guess.
Yeah. Big Talon 256 says play Eric's video. Look, I want everybody to go to Eric's channel and watch that video. It's 9 minutes long. I watched it. And that's how I get my understanding of where Eric is on this issue. I'd love to talk to Eric and get his perspective on it too. I'm not, again, I don't have a fucking side here. But you can watch it there. That's what I have pulled out of his thing. He says he's got the receipts, and they may have more than what he has revealed so far. What he has revealed so far to me says this Roy guy emailed 2 different organizations, first being the charity, second being this the current company that is bringing the suit, and that Vito used the word "we" on The Biggest Problem, describing we contacted the charity, implying that the show or Dick and Vito, that they are the we. To me, it looks like this Roy guy did it, and then they just kind of adopted that.
The basis for jurisdiction in California is weak as shit.
I haven't read it yet. I haven't read the suit. I figured we'd go through the main points. But yeah, I want to ask you a couple quick trademark things, though. Kind of get some basic trademark stuff out of the way as we go into this, if that's cool with you.
That's fine.
Okay. So my understanding is that trademark at issue, you have a couple questions. First, is there an existing trademark? This is a registered trademark. It's been registered for 2 decades on the word ISOM and the letter arrangement of ISOM, ISOM for products. and it's related to a Good Shepherd Ministries International. So it's a Christian ministry organization, has registered ISOM. Now, some people are saying that ISOM is a name. They say you can't trademark names, which isn't entirely true.
Sure, you can.
Right. So can
there
you
are a lot of
explain?
businesses that are named after trademarks. Dell, named after Michael Dell. Gold's Gym was named after a guy named Arthur Gold. What are some other famous trademarks that are named after people? I mean, there's lots of businesses that are named after people. So sure, you can use a name as a trademark. The question is its distinctiveness in the trade and the degree to which it's recognized as an origin goods. Dr. Scholl's, I think at one point was a real guy.
Right. It's hard to register something like John Smith as a trademark because it's a more common name. So you'd have some issues with that. And it would be hard to register generally, like
McDonald's.
Ricada.
That's right. McDonald's. There we go. Yeah, those are two people named McDonald's before Roy Kroc, stabbed him in the back. Yeah, that's right. There you go.
So you can trademark a name, and again, it's distinctiveness in the industry, the uniqueness of the name, and the more unique something is, the more likely it is that the mark is protectable. But right now, we have an uncontested registered mark with 20 years of background. So the trademark office looked at it and they approved the mark, right? Whether or not it's a name is kind of irrelevant here. And people are like, well, it's not a name, it's an acronym. It doesn't really matter here because this mark does exist. Rippa could, I guess, counter sue and challenge the mark at this point, but you would have to have, you have a pretty high bar once a mark is registered and past its challenge period, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it looks like they're using the mark in commerce and trade. They're using it. They at least provide prima facie evidence that they're using it in the mark. So,
right.
Yeah, they've got the mark. They are using it in trade. So, yeah, you'd have to prove that it's lost its distinctiveness, which I don't think you've got. So, yeah.
Right. And
it's
so
just
now,
like they seem like completely different things. Like it's not even the same class. They're completely different things.
Right. We're going to get to that.
You do get into this idea of like famous marks where you can do cross class. So particular marks, McDonald's is a good example. Coca-Cola is a good example. Like marks of particular distinctiveness where basically you have universal registration. So you can't use those marks in any sort of domain because of how well they're known. But that's not the typical rule. So you have a lot of marks which are used in one domain, and then the same name is used in a completely different domain because they're just not in competing businesses.
Right, because no one would be surprised if Nike made an energy drink or a coffee, or if Nike sold a car. Like no one would be surprised if Nike branding was put onto any product. They're just such a big company that has so many tendrils out there that it would work. But a lot of people might be like, if Ricada's Auto Shop popped up in Wisconsin or like South Carolina, like that would be a weird thing for me to say, no, like the Ricada brand is so big, like who wouldn't expect an auto shop? Although now I'm going to open one. But yeah, so you definitely have that. And I don't think ISOM is in that ubiquitous category. So then the follow-up question is really, as I understand it, does the use of the new mark or the new mark create a likelihood of customer confusion with the old mark? And there are ways to analyze that. And that is the similarity of like the art styles, for example, could be used to do that. If you blatantly rip off an art style, or if you're in a similar class, or if you can make some sort of bridges between them to say, well, this is why I think these might be related. Because what they don't want is a customer buying a new product from a new company thinking that they're supporting a brand that they trust, or that brand has anything to do with it. Because what if they buy the new product and the product is garbage? Then the other brand is now tarnished by the lack of care given to the use of the name. So that's kind of the idea.
Or if you hate the brand, if you hate the brand, you shouldn't have that undue pollution either. It's like, if you hate all Apple products, then, you don't want that mark on things that are not related. So you won't have the false association.
Exactly.
Yeah. But like sort of the bottom line of trademark law is consumer confusion. That's sort of like where it all goes to, because the fundamental point of trademarks is to identify to the consumer the origin of the goods. Where's this thing coming from? Who is the person behind it? So that the consumer, when they won't be tricked into thinking it comes from a source other than they expect. So if whatever their opinion of a particular brand is, they know that mark stands for that thing. So they know to avoid it or not, as the case may be.
Right, which is why we have brands in the first place and why we thought to protect them.
Right.
So, which, if I'm not mistaken, was actually a new facet of American law created or the protection of the trademark was relatively new, right? Or is that an old thing? Am I thinking of?
No, trademarks do pre-exist. I mean, the Bass beer, I think.
I might be thinking of the
trademark
patent
in the UK. Patent law goes back to the Venetian Patent Act. That goes back to the 15th century.
Okay, well, I'm just wrong. It's fine.
Okay.
You don't have to salt it, Kurt. Okay, I'm already cut deep. Cut deep. Let me hit a couple super chats real quick, and then we'll pull up the document and get going. As legit as it gets, says, "Hey Rackets, can I get a shout out for indie animation? The Lackadaisy Season 1 Baccarat Kit crowdfunder has 1 hour left at its final stretch goal. Almost $2 million raised. Let's help get it over the finish line." Lackadaisy Season 1 Backer Kit crowdfunder. Well, guys, go check that out if you like indie animation. I don't know what that is, but $2 million is awesome. So go them. I hope they succeed well, I think. Stephen Cooper says, "Glad seeing you guys tonight. Have you guys seen the tomfoolery with the police in Marion, Kansas? This is where they raided a newspaper and a home. I've only seen something incidentally about it. I haven't looked into it, but I'm definitely going to."
Pretty fucked up.
Yeah. There's a different thing going on in Kansas that I was reading about today that if we don't get to it today, I'll talk about it tomorrow. But it involves them doing something called the Kansas two-step to pull over out-of-state drivers. What they would do is they'd pull them over, they'd come up to the car, and then they would turn around for a second and wait for the person to say, "Hey, like, what's up?" And then they'd have a voluntary interaction with the person that they would then use like a drug dog and start asking for searches and stuff like that. Very, very shitty. It was ruled unconstitutional. And now the Kansas police are like, well, this is just too hard for us to not do. It's amazing. So that I definitely want to talk about. Romo Drummer says, according to reliable sources, the actual mugshot is photoshopped. It does look like it is too.
I believe that.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Let's get the original on the film.
So, yeah, let's do it. Let's put it on film, project it onto the wall. That's what I want to see. All right. So I wanted to make sure and hit those super chats early, and let's do this. Where is my, it's a different thing here. Here we go. This is the ISOM lawsuit. So this is Mark Holland and Associates, attorneys for plaintiff Good Shepherd Ministries International. And like you said, one of the big questions here is what was done by the plaintiffs to try and resolve this early. I think that is something we don't know. You would hope that they reached out and said, "Hey, like, we think you guys might be infringing on our mark. Can we work this out in some way?" Rather than go straight to litigation. But who knows? They don't have to, but you'd hope that they would. And then, of course, it's versus Eric July and Rippa LLC, and Doe's 1 through 5 inclusive. So this is against the company that owns that is producing ISOM. So here's the plaintiff. I don't want to have I already had them up, but it doesn't matter. The true names and capacities of Doe defendants 1 through 5 are not known to Good Shepherd. Doesn't matter. So there's potentially other people involved. They don't know them. They don't, but they include this in case they need to add someone later. This is brought jurisdiction over the acts. So this is brought before this court to review patent or to trademark. This court has personal jurisdiction over defendants consistent with the principles of due process by virtue of one or more of the following. Wait, this is brought in U.S. District Court, Central District of California, Eastern District.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a weird place, and I'm not sure there's jurisdiction here, because I'm not sure that it's a weak case for jurisdiction. They say they have personal jurisdiction because defendants transacting and doing business.
That can be true. It can be. It doesn't necessarily mean it is. They have to significantly direct specifically business to the venue.
Yeah, to the jurisdiction. I'd be raising a objection on personal jurisdiction grounds.
Right. So we've got an issue here: is can July and Rippa be brought into court in the Central District of California? That would be an immediate question. Now, it's possible. I don't know. It is possible that there would be some justification for bringing it here if they used some company as part of like their crowdfunding or something like that required a choice of law or like a agreement to a jurisdiction. Like we are on YouTube, and so if we are brought into YouTube over copyright issues that, that we either claim or counterclaim. Part of that is we agree to the jurisdiction of, I believe, the federal court in San Francisco on those copyright claims when we submit either the claim or the counterclaim. So like
exciting.
Yeah, that type of stuff can happen depending on the platforms. But my understanding is that the Rippaverse platform is home built. It's not like they didn't use, I don't think they used Indiegogo or whatever. They built it. So that would be less likely, but there is a possibility there. That's not a listed reason here. So yeah, I agree. You would definitely be considering challenging jurisdiction. If you think you want to do that, it makes sense. So because a substantial part of the relevant events occurred in the district, which that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
And a substantial part of the property that is subject to the action is situated here. Now, this would be the plaintiff's
It also doesn't
property.
make sense.
Right.
Because the property at issue is a trademark, which isn't really here anyway.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the evidence would be substantially located.
So we can go fight on personal jurisdiction for a while.
Yeah, there you go. It's federal court. You just added 9 months, potentially. So this is an action for previous and ongoing trademark infringement and unfair competition by July and Ripper under Section 32 of the Lanham Act, 15 USCA 1114, registered trademark infringement, false designation of origin, unfair competition, common law trademark infringement, and the California Unfair Practices Act, which is any business practice that is unfair at all, falls under this thing. It's a very general catch-all act that that I've talked about on this program several times in relation to other suits. So they seek injunctive relief, damages, and attorney's fees. So beginning in or around 1999, continuing since that time, Good Shepherd created and operates ISOM, an abbreviation for Good Shepherd's International School of Ministry. Good Shepherd operates other ministries as well, such as Women of the World and Youth Bites. Wow, did they sue World of Warcraft and Youth Bites? But by far,
Legal Bites.
Yeah, there you go. But by far, its main outreach and public persona is based on its trademark ISOM. In that regard, and upon information belief, around 90% of their activities are carried out under its trademark ISOM. In addition, consumers make out their checks and other payments to ISOM. In fact, Good Shepherd does not even appear on the covers of many of Good Shepherd's publications and products, and this is where I think this is where they're going to be hinging a lot of their stuff. They publish stuff. Like they're a publisher of something. So they make some sort of printed material. And
I'm willing to accept for the purposes of the moment that they are using the mark ISOM, that they use it in trade, that it is a dominant mark of theirs. So I'm willing to sort of concede that for the moment. It just feels, it's just so distinct from the alleged infringing use that what reasonable consumer would look at these two things and be like, oh yeah, these are affiliated, So.
Yeah, and that is the question. And I don't know the answer to that. And I'm often disagreeing with the trademark office on that question too. Like, I don't see reasonableness. But what I do know is I have a comic book on my shelf, for example, about Jesus, but it's in the style of like a modern comic book. It's a comic book. So the idea, and it's going to depend on what they show me that ISOM publishes, but the idea that a Christian ministry that does outreach through publications would publish a comic book that could be confused.
Also, not for nothing, but the fact that people make checks out to ISOM is so irrelevant to the immediate issue.
Right.
Who cares? It has nothing to do with what a consumer who looks at the comic book would understand. If someone writes a check me at the ISOM.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to very mildly disagree. I think going with the theme of this paragraph, they say, Good Shepherd does not even appear on the covers of many of their publications and products, although Good Shepherd typically is printed or otherwise included in the information inside those publications and materials, or is otherwise associated with those activities and products. So what they're saying is that no one knows us as Good Shepherd. Everyone knows us as ISOM, to the extent that even when they're paying our company, Good Shepherd, they're writing it out to ISOM. And so therefore, when they see ISOM on two covers, this is the argument I would make if I was their attorney, right? When they see ISOM on this cover, they're not going to expect to see ISOM, a Good Shepherd publication, or a subchapter of Good Shepherd Ministries somewhere else. When you're looking, or when you see it on a shelf somewhere, you're seeing ISOM and associating with that brand. That I think is where they would go with that.
I guess.
Now, this is not a strong legal argument, right? Like, this is just the persuasive element of writing the complaint. So by way of example, below on left is a screenshot of a cover of one of Good Shepherd's publications. On the right, cover of that, a screenshot of a cover of that same publication.
Okay.
Okay, so here it is. Here's ISOM up here. And then down here, you have Good Shepherd Ministries on the inside page. I don't know why it said cover twice, but this is page 2. So you'll have Good Shepherd Ministries.
So you got the ISOM logo, International School of Ministry in top right. Then you got International School of Ministry on the left-hand side and sort of a smaller font there. And you got on the right-hand side, ISOM and the ISOM logo again. International School of Ministry in the first paragraph. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, fine.
So here we go. This is their thing. Since that time, 1999, through decades of hard work, creative product development, high quality in its products and services, Good Shepherd has earned great loyalty and renown within its industry, including as described below. Primarily known to the public under its trademark ISOM, chose to register its trademark ISOM as discussed rather than register Good Shepherd itself. Operates online under its main website, isom.org, and a related website, isomonline.org. Good Shepherd's identity is strongly tied to its isom.org website, which it purchased and has been using for almost 25 years. Good Shepherd's ISOM is the largest multi-denominational video-based Bible school in the world, providing undergraduate and graduate level biblical education and ministry in the marketplace. It's known for its ethnic diversity with over 85 languages available, with more than 20,000 schools joining the ISOM community from 150 countries. ISOM's world-class facility or faculty includes nearly 100 ministers.
Doesn't hurt to puff yourself up in the middle of your complaint. That's fine.
Yeah, I guess if any of the patent attorneys reviewing this are like, you know what, I really want to just go into ministry and go to school, and I read about this one somewhere. So they've developed and marketed numerous.
Will give me a free membership now. That'd be good.
They've developed and marketed numerous printed and electronic.
I'm already a minister of the Universal Life Church. Maybe we could add that to the list. Are you a member? Are you a minister of the Universal Life Church?
I thought about it because I was going to do a wedding for someone. Then I, decided that God would probably strike me down if I did. So I didn't do it. But my friend is.
I bless you.
Thank you, Kurt.
No worries.
Now I won't get struck down. So they've developed and marketed numerous printed and electronic media products, clothing, promotional items, and related products, the Good Shepherd products, which are marketed and sold throughout the United States and beyond. Now, again, I know people are going to say this is way different, but you have to recognize there are similarities here. Whether those similarities are enough is the question. ISOM, Eric July's thing, is a printed and electronic media product. It has a PDF version that comes with your purchase. You also have, I believe, don't quote me, I might be incorrect there, but I believe there's a digital version that you can get. There's also the physical copy, the printed stuff. They have a website for the Rippaverse where ISOM appears. They also do have other marketed products. I believe shirts, hats, stuff like that that's available. So they are producing products of the same nature. Does that mean they're automatically in the same category or likely to cause confusion? No. But we have to recognize where the arguments are being made and why they're being made in these lawsuits. Like, that's the whole point of them. So the Good Shepherd products, which are marketed and sold through the United States and beyond under Good Shepherd's trademark ISOM. Good Shepherd has spent a substantial amount of time, energy, and money advertising and promoting its ISOM trademark products in the United States and throughout the world, as a result of which it has developed substantial and exclusive goodwill and reputation in connection with the ISOM mark for Good Shepherd products. As a result, you now market and sell Good Shepherd products under the well-known trademark ISOM, which trademark is used to identify, distinguish, blah, 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 blah. It's the owner of U.S. trademark registration number 3,517,031, registered October 14th, 2008 for ISOM as a standard character mark, covering the following: international class 9 audio and video media, namely CDs, DVDs, CD-ROMs, MP3 recordings, CDRs, MP3, CD-ROMs, audio CD-ROMs, and cassettes featuring religion, faith, and inspirational content. Electronic media, namely CDs, DVDs, CD-ROMs, MP3 recordings, CDRs, and blah, 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 blah. And cassettes featuring recordings of the field of religion, pre-recorded stuff, audiobooks and electronic books having educational, inspirational, faith, and fiction and entertainment content. So here we got fiction, educational, inspirational, faith, fiction, and entertainment content, video discs and tapes, downloadable video recordings featuring audiobooks and electronic books having educational, inspirational, faith, fiction, and entertainment content, and Class 16 printed instructional, educational, and teaching materials, namely brochures, notebooks, printed tests, printed exams, and workbooks on the field of religion. So it looks to me like they're going to be focusing on this fiction and entertainment content in printed and electronic materials. Actively using the mark since at least as early as December 25th, 1999. They've enjoyed extensive recognition in the marketplace, continuously marketed and sold since then. bearing the ISOM mark sold by Good Shepherd, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Over the internet, including, among other things, social medias, Facebook and Instagram, regular YouTube videos, by emails and hard copy mailing, in-person sales, telephone orders. Result of these efforts and expenditures combined with substantial sales of quality Good Shepherd products, relevant consuming public has come to recognize the ISOM mark as favorably distinguishing Good Shepherd products. Okay. Widespread public use, ISOM mark has become an asset of significant value. So here's the infringement. Oh, thank God. I hate these sometimes. And this one isn't even unreasonably bloated. So on information and belief, July and Rippa is a relatively new comic book graphic novel company marketing and selling its books and related promotional and other products throughout the United States and around the world, including into California and into this district. Upon information and belief, July and Rippa markets and sells its books and related products directly to consumers as well as through retailers. They began using its ISOM mark on or about July 9th, 2022, nearly 23 years after it commenced use of their mark. In fact, their own online admissions, July and Rippa has admitted that in 2022, they launched their entire company using the ISOM mark. Specifically, they posted online that Rippaverse is finally here and ISOM #1 is the perfect comic book to launch it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here's their posts on Rippaverse with the campaign.
I'm not really feeling a lot of similarities between the two. I have to be honest. That mark does not really strike me as very similar to the other mark.
Yeah, this, like the art, you're talking about the art style, right? Like, does not look like the other one. The other one has a large eyes, smaller letters. There's like a globe behind it. It's kind of swirly. So yeah, this does not look like that, obviously. So here we go. On information belief, related screenshot showing the cover of the first publication, 96-page book, is hero moniker name that they chose for the main character. So again, we've got the same consistent use there. Shown the above corner in the screenshots below, red circles and arrows added for emphasis. And in addition to using the name ISOM, they repeatedly on information belief always display their ISOM character with a cross on his belt.
Really?
So that's what they're going to try and tie the religious imagery to.
Really?
They just want us to look at this guy's crotch.
Sauce. Yeah, that's some weak sauce. Really?
Yes.
Look, he's got a cross. First of all, is that a cross? Is that a plus sign? What is that? You know,
this is interesting because this one is black and this one is gold. Does he have different crosses? Are they different belts? Are these different outfits?
Inconsistency in the art style.
I guess it's just showing the cross through the shadowing. I don't know. I'm not an artist, so I don't know. I'm just noticing things, guys. Here it's black again. The black one's bigger. It's a joke. Here it's yellow again. What the fuck?
It's a different style completely. It's changed in style. Before it looks kind of just like a plus. Now that looks like a Christian cross.
That's a cross, so right?
It's changed a little bit. Inconsistency in the art direction.
This is that's just, I'm just confused by it. Like, I don't know if there's different outfits.
Are they trying to claim trademark in the cross? I think people have been using it for a little while now. Yeah.
I don't know. The Romans. July and Rippa's actions using the name ISOM and or the cross on the character's belt already have caused actual confusion. Example of that actual confusion is shown the following highlighted copy of an unsolicited email from a third party. Now, this email I do not believe to be a genuine customer confusion. I think that'll be a strong argument in Rippa's favor. He shouldn't have to make this argument because people who do this, this is bullshit, right? Like, don't fucking do this. Again, I'm still operating under the assumption that this is someone not directly associated with Dick and Vito until I see some evidence of that. But I don't care who did it.
Someone's trolling. Yeah.
But even if it were,
some of you guys
Dick
out there are
Vito,
assholes.
Yeah, this is real shitty thing to do. The way he wrote this, obtuse gnome says, "I'm an independent journalist for TDS News." This would be the Dick Show News, and the biggest. He spelled this wrong. TPBITU would be the BP. It's the biggest problem in the universe, not TPB. And I was considering doing a story on the successful campaign for the ISOM 2 comic book.
Thank you so much in extending your trademark way in such a unique way. No one writes like this. This is some bullshit.
Yeah.
Your homie? This is some bullshit.
As I'm sure you know, ISOM #1, the first comic book in the Rippaverse extended universe by Black libertarian Eric D. July, made a successful campaign by raising $3.7 million, backed by over 42,000 buyers. And the second campaign for ISOM 2 looks to be shattering the ISOM #1's record by to date, making over $2 million with over 17,000 backers located on Rippaverse.com. as Mr. July also does some work with the BlazeTV.com, former Fox News host Glenn Beck's network. I love to see such amazing cooperation being done to create such amazing packages and such a unique character who also can be a beacon to young black men and women, which is currently lacking. Like this is a troll email, and this person is a piece of garbage. I'd be curious to know when the decision was made to make a comic book character using the same name as the
apparently they
International
took the bite and they took the bite and they put it right into the complaint, man. Well,
yep. Yeah. Has Mr. July received any funding to aid him in the creation of superhero ISOM? Info on the choice to have ISOM have an image of the cross on his belt. So they grabbed that right there. What we can hope to see with the continuation of ISOM on his journey to rescue Jasmine from prostitution. And if you could, the amazing choice to offer buyers the option to donate a copy of ISOM number 2 for just $17.50 to help children who are hospital. Anyone who's followed the drama knows this $17.50 was a cause of contention in the drama because I believe that Dick and Vito alleged that the $17.50 was a higher price than necessary to actually donate comic books. I don't know anything about like what the actual price is or anything like that. I don't care either way. But I believe that was one of the contentions and why this was probably included. If the person's doing this for haha lulz, that $17.50 number is a call out. I thank you so much in extending your trademark name in such a unique way in the creation of a new superhero with a promise to use American-made books and products, as well as your time in getting back to me, your homie, Roy Gerbile, a senior reporter for TDS News, a subsidiary of The Biggest Problem in the Universe and The Biggest Problem in the Universe 2. Among other things, the above, like, by the way, this isn't real. That's not a, like, TDS News isn't a subsidiary of The Biggest Problem in the Universe. And The Biggest Problem in the Universe 2 isn't a thing because The Biggest Problem in the Universe is the trademark that Dick owns after he won it from Maddox in a trademark lawsuit that Maddox filed. So, like, I believe this is a long troll from an old fan. Among other things, the above journalist email states, that we just read this, so no reason to keep reading it. According to their online postings and upon information belief, they completed their marketing campaign July 25th, 2022, reached a huge amount over their target, total of more than 3.7, etc. And they've got the ongoing one right now. Let me see if there's anything else. So again, it's just highlighting the ISOM stuff. ISOM mark, here we go. Here's their argument that it is confusingly similar. To Good Shepherd's ISOM mark. Without attempting to comprehensively list or analyze the factors involved in such an infringement analysis, the marks themselves are identical. Kurt, what say you?
Well, as a straight text mark, I guess if we ignore, all colorization, stylization, artistic direction, and basically every other factor, then sure, it's literally the same 4 letters.
Right. Yeah. If you take out all of the things that make art distinct, then it's the same. There are the letters ISOM. Outside of that, I don't agree. Presumably, the marks are pronounced identically. Oh, I hadn't considered that. I mean, they might not be, right? The use of the cross on the hero's belt furthers the likelihood of confusion with Good Shepherd's trademark ISOM. I do. Let me say,
I do like the implication that like anyone who uses the cross is somehow tying themselves with ISOM.
I agree that could add a modicum of confusion, but I don't think it is anywhere near sufficient or substantial to actually make someone confused. But that's the only thing I could think of is if there was something tying ISOM, but I'm not really familiar with the character design of ISOM. So my thought was, well, Eric operates on the right, and there's like an implication of traditional values. I thought they were going to be reaching into that sort of, intangible connection to religion, but they just went ahead for the low bait of the low because it's down by his penis, the low bait of the cross on the thing. But I don't think that this is actually going to cause confusion, but I think that's like the only argument they have. Actual confusion has already occurred because of the email that
you got trolled, son.
Yeah. Upon information and belief, they commenced the use of the trademark ISOM in connection with their books sometime in 2022. They've developed, marketed, sold, and continue to sell infringing goods. Upon information and belief, they posted extensive promo materials on their own website and on other blah, blah, blah. Infringing goods compete with Good Shepherd products sold under the mark. By way of example, in addition to competing on books and media publications, they sell related items such as hats and shirts shown below that directly compete with theirs, both bearing the trademark ISOM. So we have more examples here. Hat.
Those are two completely different things.
Yeah. The styling here.
They look nothing alike.
I guess the question is it reasonable? And I think the answer is no. But the question is, would it be reasonable for someone to see this and go, oh, my school of ministry created another logo that I want to buy from this other guy's website? Is that that's the reasonableness question summarized? Again, I don't think the answer is yes, but I think that's the way you have to ask it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Could someone look at that and go, that might actually be the same thing? But there's very distinct differences
with the reasonably prudent consumer confuse these two things. And like, I don't think so.
I want to say I don't think so, but I've seen the trademark office rule weirdly on some stuff. So, but I say I don't think so. So again, ISOM.org.
The trademark office, I think, tends to be a little bit more conservative than the courts.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to get the mark registered from the trademark office, like if they filed for this mark, the trademark office would kick it. But I'm not sure that's the same thing as being infringing. Right. The trademark office, I think, tends to be a little bit more conservative and cautious. This
one, again, wildly different. We have the .org included on the shirt. Again, different fonts, a consistent font that they have. This one has different coloration. They have the globe behind it. There's a circle behind this guy, which that makes it
that looks like some 1988 bullshit right there on the left.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 99, right? Like that's when they started. So it's probably the original design from 1999. Consumers and potential customers sold under the ISOM mark are identical to, or at least considerably overlap the consumers and potential customers of the infringing goods.
Bullshit.
I don't know where you're getting that one, buddy.
Bullshit.
Like that's a stretch to me. Like, yeah, everybody who bought the Rippaverse comic, they're actually all the same people who would buy the other stuff. Infringing goods are sold in the same channels of trade, sold under the ISOM mark. So I guess online and occasionally retail. So yeah. Infringing activity is likely to cause confusion, mistaken deception among consuming public as the origin of the infringing goods. Use the ISOM. That's just conclusory. So ISOM mark in connection with books sold to Good Shepherd consumers and Good Shepherd channels of trade creates a false designation of origin. Which is likely to cause confusion as to the affiliation. But I mean, they're not doing
the rest of this is just trademark filler.
Yeah. Pro forma
confusion, blah, 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 blah. Right. What? Okay. Fine.
Yeah. It's all conclusory just to like, in case we missed something. So I'm not going to read the specific stuff. Okay. So Kurt, we've got the gist of this lawsuit. We've seen their evidence and their arguments. Walk us through it. Help me out here.
The personal jurisdiction is the first thing. It seems a little weak that they have jurisdiction here because I don't know what activities are sufficient to create the sufficient minimum contacts in California. So I'd definitely be fighting this on jurisdiction. And then the other thing is like there's just no confusion between these two things.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
completely different marks. Two completely different marks. These are two completely different things. You're a ministry. We're offering a comic book. These are two different stylizations. You don't own the rights to the cross. You understand, right? I mock them about that for a while. That'd be fun. But yeah, so it's a weak case. It's weak, and I wonder why they filed it, and if they tried to reach any sort of accord before filing this. Did they just go straight to filing, and if so, why?
Maybe, and some people didn't like. That's the way they do things. It might depend on their counsel. I don't know if they have a history of defending this mark. So one of the things I want to clear up for people is there's a likelihood of causing confusion. And then there's what you said, which is the more precise analysis, which is the reasonably prudent person likelihood of confusion. And so you can say stuff like I can easily say, well, yeah, the cross and the belt, someone might look at that and go, oh, this is a religious thing. I know there's that religious
we don't lowest common denominator this. There's always going to be a moron. It has to be the reasonably prudent consumer, the normal consumer in ordinary trade. Would they be confused?
Right. So this is effectively a nothing lawsuit. I think I don't think Eric's in any real danger of infringement, but what Eric is in danger of, and this is just the annoying thing about this is the punishment of the process itself. This is a waste of time, a waste of money caused by someone who's trolling this ministry. And what he was probably doing, again, if I had to guess, my speculation is, I know everyone wants this to be a nefarious thing because internet drama is what most people want injected into their anuses every single day. But I've listened to Dick Show for a long time. And the biggest problem before the split with him and Maddox, and a big feature of the show, is emails, voicemails, and stuff that is fan created things that they send in. I don't know if this guy's actually trying to cause a lawsuit, but if he sends an email to this thing and sends it onto the show, they're going to read it. And it's got memes in there. Like they're referring to specific criticism that Dick used in his review of the product. The cross thing is one of those things that people are like, that's a, straight from Dick's, analysis or whatever. Yeah. The $17.50 charity thing, mentioning Glenn Beck in the Blaze. Like the idea is to create a thing for an audience in the know to laugh at. And now it's gone too far. And I think that that's a really shitty thing to do. This is the same shit I've criticized Vito for, which is also why I'm not willing to let him off the hook. I've never seen Dick do anything like this. And I know people are like, Dick hates Eric July so much. Like, okay. Like if that's what you need to get there, maybe. And maybe you're right. I don't know. But personally, until I see something substantially connecting anyone to this guy, I'm not holding anyone other than this guy responsible until I see actual evidence of that. But all of that said, none of this shit should be happening to Eric. This is really gay. And whoever did this, man, I don't know. If Eric's got the information on this person, you think he's got a case for, well, so this is a question. Does this rise to the level of tortious interference, Kurt? Because tortious interference is tough, right?
It can be. The motive behind it goes a long way. The sinister motive. Right. I think about it.
Tortious interference has gotten harder and harder and harder. Like as the internet's become a thing, because everybody talks about everything now.
Yeah, that's fair.
We do get to talk about stuff, but this is a little bit different, right? This is emailing some other place with this sort of
intention to cause a problem. Yeah.
Right. Right. And that is a question. If Eric has something against this guy, I don't know if it's worth going after.
I think about it.
Yeah. But okay, so what the fuck is a tortious something? So real quick, tortious interference is where you tortiously, unlawfully, causing injury, attempt to interfere with someone's business. Now, it seems like that'd be like everything that everybody does in 2023, like calling people out or whatever. But it's really been a lot harder to show tortious interference lately because of how ubiquitous commentary has become. And it's not just talking bad about a company or a product or a person or anything like that. What it often involves is something akin to defamation being sent for the purpose of interfering, often with a competitor, to gain some sort of advantage in an industry. Something like that is where you're seeing someone say, hey, I want you to end the contract with this other person for these reasons because I can offer you the thing and I'm a better company or better to work with. And then they do something tortious, which like defamation would be tortious, a false light where they take some facts and paint them in a way that's not true to try and harm the other person so that they can then interfere with a contract that they know about. This one's a little bit different because it wouldn't be interfering with one of Rippa's contracts, but it would be trying to maybe interfere with potential business relations or something. It gets really attenuated here because there's no contract.
Potential business relationships are even harder than existing ones.
So
because it get nebulous.
It's a possibility that I'm sure Eric's legal team will be talking about. The likelihood of manifesting a lawsuit around tortious interference for this would be low at this juncture. They would need something much more solid to really base it on than what they've got that I've seen, mainly just because tortious interference, like defamation, these types of lawsuits are becoming harder and harder to even do, to the point where a lot of people question like how much longer defamation will be a thing with the way Twitter and stuff works. Because you can kind of just go out and talk about anything and suddenly it's a public concern and the bar becomes really high when people start engaging in it. And if you're if you're on Twitter and you're like a company or a significant brand or someone over the, you know, the low 99% of followers, which is probably lower than most people think, probably in the neighborhood of 10,000 followers, you may be automatically a public person. The courts can.
Yeah, I mean,
go
the
that
public
way.
figure analysis is something I've sort of openly criticized in the courts about what constitutes a limited purpose public figure, because the case law that sort of establishes that goes back to the 1970s. And
Right.
basically, it's sort of if you're looking for the too long didn't watch version of what makes someone a limited purpose public figure, it's sort of a person who purposefully injects themselves into the public debate. The problem in the 1970s is that's a lot harder. To purposefully inject yourself into the public debate would take some effort. You know, in the
Right.
1970s, you know, to get a TV appearance or to write an article, to write an op-ed for the newspaper, or to, you know, to write a book or write a pamphlet or whatever. It's like in 1970, that's going to take some effort. Now it's easy. And I was sort of commenting about, and also it's not even the success, by the way, it's the attempt to inject yourself. So I
Right.
was sort of commenting this as I was criticizing the court's decision where they were dismissing Nate Brody's complaint, because they're like, part of it was like, oh, he's a limited purpose public figure, his channel's been viewed 27 million times or whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, that actually is irrelevant, because it isn't about the number of times, it's about the purposeful injection, the attempt to put yourself into the stream. So like you could make a colorable argument, given the case law the way it's written, you could make a colorable argument that like every single person that's in the YouTube chat, the Rumble chat, the locals chat, I mean, what are they doing? They're purposefully injecting themselves into the public debate. Are they all limited purpose public figures now? Is that where we're going? Because
There was, if I'm not
you
mistaken,
know,
there's a case, I think out of an appeals court, where they found a guy who is commenting in a closed Facebook group of like 36 people about snowmobiles was a limited purpose public figure in regards to the allegations made in that Facebook group. And it's like 36 people in a private group about snowmobiling is not what I would consider a limited purpose public figure. Like the public part of that seems private. Like that is a closed group that needs
yeah.
approval. So, but the analysis has gotten very attenuated. I want to address one more thing here. Nozaku says no one cares if Dick Masterson gets sued. He's a piece of shit or whatever. Like that's fine. First of all, again, if someone's going to, like if Rippa were going to sue Dick over this, based on the evidence he has presented in his video, he's fucked. Like that would be the dumbest lawsuit he could file. He's in Texas, Dixon, California. So if he's going to sue in California, he's got anti-slap issues. If he's going to haul in Dick into Texas, he's got anti-slap issues. Maybe sue in federal court. Fifth Circuit ignores anti-slap of Texas. That'd be his best bet. If he can get personal jurisdiction in the Fifth Circuit over Dick Masterson in Texas. And that's an if. That's an if question. Same thing here. Does Dick specifically inject himself into Texas related to this thing? Mm-hmm. This is a jurisdictional analysis you have to do. But that's beside the point. Like, I'm saying even if Rippa could sue anybody, and I didn't mention Dick because right now that case would be so bad. I'm talking about the person who sent the emails, who seems like right now the most likely candidate for a suit. Even if he's got all the information, a lawsuit for this could be a drain and it could look very petty, even if he has grounds. And most importantly, the guy who did this likely doesn't have funds to compensate Eric for any losses. Like that's kind of the problem with internet trolling right now. Her Montagraph is one of the issues here, right? Like if I win fees from Montagraph, there's no guarantee he has any money to pay me. So whether or not that's a thing. Same thing with this guy. I don't know this guy. I don't know anything about him, but the likelihood is that he's an average guy who probably doesn't have the money to compensate any potential damages done to a now $5 million company. Right. So that's a thing that Eric would have to consider in bringing a suit. It doesn't matter who it's against. If it's against Dick, there's more likelihood that Dick would have money. But again, the evidence that he has is great for an internet gay slap fight. It's not really good evidence at all in court, because all it is Vito saying we to one thing, which they could simply show we actually had nothing to do with this. Vito's a fat fucking retard who couldn't figure out how to say anything correct. Some guy sent an email unsolicited, sent it to us. We read it on the show because it's funny. Like that's where that goes. And so I know you guys are like, Dick and Vito tried to harm a charity. again, this is all based on Vito saying the word we without any evidence that Dick or Vito did anything, and with plenty of evidence that someone did something. Until that person is directly tied to Dick or Vito in a tangible way, none of that would actually be a good link to base a lawsuit off of. Great link for internet drama. Perfect. Like, that's all you need. Again, I said early on, I think it's perfectly reasonable for Rippa to take that position now that Dick and Vito are involved based on that. I just think it might turn out to be not true. And so depending on where you go with that, that's something that should be done with wisdom and caution, so you don't end up burning yourself, filing lawsuits that can be thrown out, and that could, especially if they have slap issues in place, where you could really get into trouble with having to pay fees for someone else. That's my point on that. Again, I'm going to be accused of guarding anybody in every scenario. I don't really fucking care. I hate this fight. I love Dick. That'll be clipped. And I love Eric July. Also should be clipped. But this fight between them is turbo fucking gay. And I hate it. I don't want anything to do with any of it, because all I want to do is talk to my friends online. This makes it complicated. So I love them both. Fuck them both for carrying on this gay fight. It's so stupid too, because for both of them, this could have been stopped at any moment by either one just going, well, that guy sucks, and then just literally not and moving on and ignoring it. Either one of them could have done that. Neither one could manage to do it, and I fucking hate it. So there, I've said my piece on it. But there you go, guys. There's the trademark. There's the trademark thing. Oh, Dick started the fight. Oh, go fuck yourself, you weirdo. It's the internet, man. You started a fight by criticizing someone. Oh, okay. Well, I've started every fight ever because I criticize people all the time. It doesn't matter. How you respond to things dictates how they go. They can either stop or they can not go. Big criticism of me with Monograph, by the way. Like, apparently it's my fault that he came to bother me. I didn't thought of this guy in 3 years. But hey, I get to own it because I called him a retard and said he liked sucking kids' cocks or something. Whatever. It was pretty drunk. Okay. I stand by my messaging. I'm not retracting. Be careful
with that. You're being sued for that stuff.
And I've said I'm not retracting anything, and everything I believe is reasonably believable based on Montegraph's history. My response has not changed on that. I'm not going to take a different position now. Okay. That'd be weird. Wouldn't that be strange, Kurt? Like if I suddenly said, I don't believe, that would be worse for me.
I don't know. Perhaps you've reconsidered, and I don't know. You could change your mind, at least hypothetically.
Hypothetically, if someone gave me any reason to, no one has. So.
Okay. Oh, fair enough.
I've not been presented any new information to the contrary. Have you?
I don't know anything about Montegraph, so I really have no opinion on this.
Well, there you go. And I'm not asking you to. I think it's weird that people are like, why didn't he just say he changed his mind? Like, what do you change my mind? Why? It's like that.
Speaking of people who might be forced to change their mind, Jordan Peterson.
I guess if you want to shift gears now, just kidding. No, I'm trying to kill Randazzo here, Kurt. I want that man to have a coronary. Okay. Let me hit some super chats. We also got to get off of YouTube and go to Rumble.
Okay.
Here we go. DJ Madero says, so do the criminal charges against President Trump mean that there's now a presence to charge President Obama with the murder for the killing of a 16-year-old American citizen in the country of Yemen?
No.
As much as I disagree with the killing of the 16-year-old American citizen in the country of Yemen, and actually disagree with the killing of his father, even though that guy seems to be an awful scumbag, I was not really happy with a drone strike without any substantial process behind it. Even though I've been explained like how the due process was a chain of command and firing the drone strike after confirmation from from assets on the ground, stuff like that. I still disagree that is sufficient process in a non-war zone, but that's me. Arclight Redux says, F these people who mess with a man's ability to earn a living, right, Nick? Yes. But again, I know what you're trying to say. Like, the question is, did Dick and or Vito have anything to do with this thing? Are they Roy? Eric makes the case that they are in his video. You can assess it however you want. Again, and I know he's watching, Vito is a fat retard, and he does not have the credibility with me that Dick does. Dick, I've never seen do anything like this. So I'm not going to say that Dick did this without some evidence that he did. And right now there is scant evidence of that. Vito, I'm not going to defend him. I'm not going to condemn him either, but I'm not going to defend him on it because I don't know him that well. But until there's some evidence, yeah, again, whoever is fucking with Eric's living is a piece of shit. Thank God it's Eric. He'll probably make more money from this. And again, I hope he makes unlimited dollars. Maps Go on the Wall says Dick eats corn the long way. So does Vito. Now I'm thinking of that. Have you ever tried eating corn the long way, Kurt?
What?
Like you would take the cob, right? Rather than you would turn it lengthwise, put it in your mouth, and presumably like bite down and scrape the kernels off that way.
No, I can't say I've ever tried that, Nick.
Are you prejudiced against alternative corn eating methods?
In this instance, yes.
Why?
Well, it seems woefully inefficient and a massive choking hazard.
Oh my God. Here's why I hate the internet, Kurt. Max Griff says, Nick, wouldn't Vito and Dick's comments be enough for a reasonable inference that they were involved? Discovery would prove whether either were involved. As I stated before, Eric's position that they were involved is a reasonable position to take from his perspective at this point. I'm just saying basing a lawsuit off of it is something that requires lots of consideration and wisdom, because the risks of a lawsuit in any of the jurisdictions involved are anti-SLAPP. And if Eric were to sue them and they could say this is, and I think they would have a reasonable grounds to say this based on Eric's reactions to what they've said about his product. If they could say that this lawsuit is actually a pretext for silencing their criticism of his book, whether or not that's true, if they could make that argument in an anti-SLAPP case, suddenly Eric has filed a lawsuit in one of two jurisdictions with strong anti-SLAPP protections, and he could end up paying their fees over a lawsuit that might not have been caused by them. But yet again, for those in the fucking back or for people just joining, I think at this juncture, his assumption based on Vito being retarded and saying the word we when he may not have had anything to do with it, or being retarded and having something to do with it, is a reasonable inference and a reasonable position for Eric to take. Yes, that is the thing. And now that I've said that, I think 4 times now, can you stop asking me about it? Please, because it's getting tiring to explain this over and over and over again. Okay. All right. More chats. Lamar, 76 metal. Oh, shit. Wait. There's some here on Rumble that I didn't see. Jason CJ says, Kurt's okay attitude responses perfectly captured my emotions on this Friday afternoon in Not Real Australia before work is over for the week. Imagine pretending there's a different time zone that encompasses a fake land, Kurt. Time zones aren't even real. The disc is not tolerant of them. Jason of TJ also says, at this point, isn't tortious interference justification for all of us, especially in chat, receiving more reparations payments? Yes. Yes. Lamar 76 metal says, hey, retard, I was in Corpus. I was the one that got his CDL during Rittenhouse to talk to you about Beast in Black. Cheers, Nikki. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Beast in Black, man. Die by the Blade is an awesome song. Chris Tony, love you, man, but not like that. I'm talking strictly in the gay sense. Don't get it twisted. Slagla says, hi, Nick. Welcome back. We missed you. So anyway, can you bring on Vito again so we can lie to our faces all stream for a third time? No, I'm not going to bring on Vito on this one. Again, I said, Dick has credibility with me. It doesn't seem in character for him. Vito, I've seen pull a couple cancel-y things and I'm not super happy about. So that one, you can just draw your own conclusions on him for that. Hercules says, Eric exposed your friends, Nick. Do you want me to argue with you? You're going to draw your conclusions on Eric's video. I actually suggested you should, so go do that. Steve Robertson says, does the email need to be authenticated by a witness in the case of a trial, or is that just criminal cases? Well, I guess that's the authentication of the email would be the guy receiving it. Got a hearsay issue, but is it a state of mind question? That's a good question, right? How do you authenticate this email? Is it self-authenticating?
It doesn't need to be authenticated because the issues are independent of the email. Although there might be a question to try to subpoena it for whatever value, but yeah, I'm not sure that the email is really relevant at this point anymore.
Yeah, the email is the basis for this, like the basis for the decision to make the suit. It is, well, they made it an issue because they said that they've caused actual confusion.
That's a
based
fair
on the
point.
email.
That's a fair point. They did allege actual confusion on the basis of it. I stand corrected.
Well, I wouldn't call it a correction, just kind of noodling through it together type thing. But
I said a wrong thing. I made a mistake.
Damn you, Kurt. How dare you? No, I think that's the way you go. And so then the authentication. Yeah, because it is used to prove the truth of the matter asserted, which is that there's customer confusion. Like that's the idea. So they would have to, I guess, authenticate the email in some way.
Yeah.
Unless it's
they're going to use it as
record.
basis for actual confusion. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would think, yeah, they'd have to do it. I mean, in any case, again, depending on how this goes. Oh man, that's a weird issue though, right? So that's going to be incumbent on the plaintiff to locate this guy and bring him in.
Eventually.
Or to get a statement from him.
Eventually.
Because like Rippa has no duty to do that. Okay, so here we go. Cult of Personality says, you heard it here, folks. Nick thinks Dick is great. The real deal says, please interview Jordan Peterson. It's the one collab we haven't had. I would love to interview Jordan Peterson. I make fun of him crying, but it's mostly a mild ribbing because there's not much else to make fun of him about it. I love the guy. He's fantastic. Freech's Spee has been watching since Rittenhouse and I just turned 21 while you were at Matsuri. Can I get a toast to celebrate? Yes, you can. Let me get a little bit more whiskey in the glass. Also, I do want to say, I was able to briefly converse with the owner of Anime Matsuri tonight, just by some text. I'm going to try and call him tomorrow because I had to leave Matsuri a little early. And I didn't get a chance to. Normally, I stay for this after party that goes to like 5 a.m. On Sunday night, and I'm usually there for all of it. I wasn't able to be there this time, and so I didn't get a chance to have a debrief with them, talk to him, thank him for everything. So I wanted to do that. I was waiting till they decompress. Hopefully, I'll be able to talk to him tomorrow. But I just wanted to say, Anime Matsuri was fantastic, great show. Love them very much. He sent me some pictures that I got to take with the Houston mayor, which his enemies can use against him on his next campaign, I'm sure. But while I probably disagree vehemently with many of the policies of the Houston mayor, he's a very cordial and gentlemanly guy. It was really nice to meet him. And my mom knew him briefly in high school. She was a couple years behind him in the same high school. So I was able to say hi to him from her, something she asked me to do last year if I ever ran into him. So it was a really nice conversation. But cheers.
New in the colloquial sense or the biblical sense?
Colloquial.
Okay. All right.
Colloquial. Right. But again, Anime Matsuri is fantastic. I encourage everybody to go next year. If I'm able to go next year, hopefully be finding that out in the next very short period of time, because I would love to actually get working on it.
Was that too much? Was that joke too far? Okay, just checking. All right.
Kurt, it's hard to go too far on a joke with me. There are limits that I'm like, hey, that's a bit much. That one I took in good faith. You don't have to worry. But I just want to say, I would love to get working on like who's going to come to the YouTube thing next year and build it out. There was some weird shuffling that happened kind of leading up to the event. And it ended up kind of getting like taken over by me, not started by me. I'd like to just do it from the beginning and bring people out because it's such a fun fucking show. And I hope to get to do that. So guys, check out Anime Matsuri next year. Of course, check out their website for announcements as things go. With that, cheers. Freech's Spee, happy 21st birthday, brother. I hope you have something stronger than White Claw to bring you into that age of legal drinking. May you enjoy every single minute. I love getting older. I really do. And I think it's 21's a good place to start, even though you can't rent a car, you little baby. But eventually you'll be able to. Cheers, man. Enjoy it. Malcolm Combs says, any chance of a show in the Pacific Northwest in the future? Yes. Would love to go to one, but plane tickets are pricey. Yes, they are. I would love to do one up in the Seattle area. We'll figure that out. Hopefully next year we can do that. Jip V says, just time traveled. Joe sent us to yesterday's stream. Well, thanks, Joe. Nick Naylor says, would the verbal pronunciation affect it? Because I think the church would be ISOM versus ISOM. I don't know. I don't think so. The verbal pronunciation, Kurt, could that be a factor? I mean, a real factor?
No, not based on the consumer. I couldn't think so. No.
Yeah. I don't. Sovi says, question, when you trademark STH, I guess something, don't they have a database to cross-reference names to check for validity? Hail 199. Yes, you can search for for registered trademarks. You go to the Patent Trademark Office website, you search for marks, you type it in, and it comes out with a huge list of things that might match in alphabetical order. It's recommended to do that, but that is not sufficient, by the way. This is something people often get incorrect. Merely searching for registered marks isn't sufficient protection to make sure you're not infringing, because there is a common law mark that people can have, and you can infringe on that even if they haven't registered it. It makes their actions a little bit more complicated going after you, but that is a thing. But yeah, it would be a good place to start if you're starting a new company, new business, new brand, would be to check the Trademark Office for registered marks. Right, Kurt? Did I get anything wrong there?
Yeah, it's all basically fine.
Thanks for the stunning C grade I just got. You can always add or subtract from what I said. I'd be like, no, you're retarded.
I want to move on to the Jordan Peterson stuff. I told you that like 15 minutes ago. I'm just waiting to move on to the next thing.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chats left, and then I got to get off YouTube, and then we'll do it.
I've completely disengaged from this topic at this point because I'm going to move on to her thing.
The Iceman says, Vito said something stupid. Misspeaking. I'm so shocked. Next, you're going to tell me politicians are corrupt. Well, I don't know if he misspoke. He might have. But he might also have been involved. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't condemn people without evidence. It's very possible either way at this point. I haven't seen the evidence yet. Kim Ben says, I've been following Mark Randazza on X since he took your case. He seemed to be fighting cancer from his recent post. Prayers for him and a toast. From my understanding, he has done very well against the cancer, and very happy to do that. I'll have to try and kill him in some other way. Irish Jedi, Michael Bublé eats corn the long way if interested.
You want to kill him in some other way? Why don't you just keep reading super chats until he loses the will to live? Because that's working for me.
Good. Fagan's Law, thank you for the chat. Jesus Davila, thumbs up as always. Slaboga, lawyer profession is legitimate, yet in the end, rule of law is ultimately conditional upon the elites who rest in power. Written law is not a finality. Camelot says, an extra chat to read. Have some baby gravy, brother. Oh, these chats just keep coming in now, Kurt.
Well, on the plus side, I'm helping to enrich my friend, so I guess there's some value in that.
I mean, maybe. Tim Chang says, has Kurt ever actually laughed at a joke? Tisms.
Yes.
Name one.
I laugh at you a lot.
That was a burn. God damn. Wow. Good Logic says, in my defense, sending 800 people to yesterday's show made it less likely they would compare your C grade skills to badass Kurt's legal analysis. True. God, man. Kurt, my air conditioner's been out for 2 days and I haven't been this warm until that roast. Mandy says, Joe's defense is like the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, God. All right. With that, we're going to move off of YouTube. We're going to Rumble. The link is in the description. It is also, I believe, posted in the pinned comment. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. Make sure you guys check out Kurt Uncivil Law on YouTube for fantastic in-depth legal analysis, going deep on the horizontal corn. And you know, one of the guys I always trust to have a very fair, honest, and educated take on any subject that he looks into. That's why I love talking to him. Mostly Gluten says, for the annoyance of Kurt. Bad Dragonite says, trademark law abuse is anti-capitalist, in my opinion. I agree. Jeremiah S. Dick Fitzwell says Rumble always buffers on cell signal. I don't have this problem, but I've heard people talk about it. Make sure your app is up to date in case, because I don't know if it automatically updates. Anyway, we're off of YouTube now. We're going to Rumble. No more sending super chats on YouTube to get Kurt annoyed, except it is funny. Peace. Peace.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen,